Going live. We are supposed to be live. Hello, everybody. Are we live? Can you tell me if we are live? If everything is working correctly? It says here that I am live, but yeah, are we live? Just let me know if everything is working properly. All right. Hello to Burak. Thank you for commenting before. I hope that you will join soon. Same for Ömer Kul and Deria Sabi. Yes, sir. Hello. Thank you very much for being here. This is a brand new concept. So, it's in the bi weekly live things. So, is everything correct, by the way? Just let me know if the sound is okay, if the image is okay before we start. I would very much appreciate it. And yeah, we're going to just wait for people to join, and then we will start this brand new concept. Oh, and grab something to drink because I drink all the time, so you may get thirsty. Thank you, Daria. So everything is great. Wonderful. All right. So basically, this concept is just what it seems to be. So it's a live talk. So I will choose a subject that I want to talk about that I feel is interesting and can be of interest and value for you guys also. So things that I want to talk about, and also things that I want your opinion in. So because this is a very good medium. I really like it. The fact that we can react to each other live. This is a great thing. And so I figured it would be, a nice new way of doing the live streams, to have basically a subject that I want to, talk about and see your opinion on. And of course, if you have questions, sorry, and of course, if you have questions, I will answer them too. I mean, I'm here for that after all. But yeah, basically, this is the new thing. So before we start, just a quick news on the channel. So basically, next Monday, no, tomorrow there will be a special video. I have to remember to upload it, but so if not tomorrow, then it will be on Saturday. But so there's going to be a new video in between the usual schedule. So you will see what's that, and also there will be, as usual, a video on Monday, a metal cover of an Anastasia song, "Left Outside Alone," "Left Outside Alone." Sorry, and it's great. I'm happy with how it turned out. So hopefully you will enjoy it too. And that's basically it. Once again, I mean, thank you very much for the reactions on the Micmac stuff. I know that it may be a little bit less easy to get interested in because, well, it's Micmac and not metal covers or something. But I'm very happy with how it's turned out, and I'm very happy with how you guys have reacted to it. Bonjour, Zen Master. Hello. And yeah, I mean, we're going to talk about whether music is non essential or not. I mean, you can imagine my opinion on that. But we will dive into the subject. I've done some research, so I'm well prepared. And that way we can get to talk. So feel free to share this live with anybody you think will be interested in this subject. And we shall start. So basically, the idea for this subject. So is music non-essential or not? So is music essential or not? Well, I didn't come with that idea. It's just that during this entire lockdown thing, well, it seemed to be something that they wanted to do. So the governments wanted to do, and so they qualified things as essential or non-essential. And so I figured it was pretty interesting knowing that we are in a society where everybody reacts to stuff, and you can say one thing without having someone saying the opposite thing. And so it's very hard to take position in something without hurting anybody, without hurting anybody's feelings. And I figured it was very interesting how, at least in France, that non-essential essential thing, um, you know non-essential essential quality was, pretty much accepted. So Zen Master is saying here, to me music is essential since I'm 12, and now I'm 54. Sorry. Yes, I mean, music is essential, of course. And so I'm going to dive into, well, why why it's so essential, and why I think, I mean, this entire thing of qualifying of essential and non-essential is completely wrong, basically. But so it's pretty amazing how easily people accept it here, that okay, this is essential, this is non-essential. And so, basically, to start arguing about whether music is essential or not, well, let's take a little dive into history. And so, well, for me, the meaning of essential or non-essential is, if you remove it, can life still happen? I mean, of course, eating is essential, sleeping is essential. And so these things are strongly connected to life from the beginning. And so the good thing that I found out, I mean, I knew about it, but I found out while doing the research, is that, well, prehistoric music goes virtually, to where, humankind first existed. So I mean, it's been there since the beginning. So of course we don't have, recordings or anything of prehistoric music, but there's some parts of it that we can see in, native tribes in Africa, in their music. And so it's basically very rhythm based music, with pretty rudimental instruments, but it's music. So music has been there since the beginning. And so even though we don't have, recordings of that, we have archaeological research that has, I mean, archaeological researchers, sorry, have found complex instruments, so not percussive, but like flutes and harps, that go, that are dated from, I think, ancient Egypt, so around 3000, 4000 before Christ. Hello to MF. Welcome to this discussion. So, as I said, basically, there's instruments that go from way back. And so, as you can see, I mean, I have my notes here in order not to forget anything. But so basically, there's always been music in a very primitive way. And so the first instruments, the first complex instruments, well, have been found around 4000 before Christ. And so after that, the first scored in written music, is dated of 800 before Christ. So that's the first time we see a score. So it's not your typical solfege score that you are used to seeing. It was in cuneiform, so a sort of drawings, but it's the first time music was written out, and written to be recorded, and in order for people to remember it. And so I figured, because so music goes way back, and I figured it would be nice to see how back our bank and financial system goes. Because, I mean, most of the people who think that music is non essential would argue that our financial system and bank system is essential. And by essential, meaning a part of our inner life, and, very closely related to basic life. Hello, Booze. How are you doing? And so the funny thing is that the really early stages of our bank system and finance, and and how trading works, well, started in 2000 before Christ with, well, basically merchants that would loan grain to farmers, and also traders that would go from city to city to trade goods. And so of course that goes way back too, but the first instrument is from even 2000 years earlier than that. So I mean, music came first and it's been there since the beginning, so it's much more something close related to proper life, so what humankind is, than actually the financial system. So that's to answer to the essential being, you know, closely related to humankind. If you have any questions, by the way, just fire away. And thank you for being here. This is great. I'm happy to talk with you guys about this, and I hope that you find this interesting and of value, because that's what I'm trying to do here is, find arguments. Because of course I'm a musician. You like you love music, so of course for you guys it's essential. But it's great to have, some strong, some strong arguments to back your theory up. And so that's, history wise, music is much closely related to humankind than other things that we invented after, like the financial system. And now, taking a very big jump to nowadays, where music has an amazing array of benefits, that I'm going to discuss right now. But as I said, take something to drink. If like me, you you drink non-stop, because you may get thirsty like Daria. So, doing my research, by the way, I've read many articles preparing for this, and there's one pretty extensive that I found very interesting, and from which I took all the benefits and stuff like that from the Harvard website. And so the article link is in the description if you then want to dive a bit more into, into this subject. So basically, maybe you've heard of the Mozart effect. So I heard about it, but I had never properly read about it. So it's not scientifically proven. So depending on the research, sometimes depending on the studies, sometimes they see an increase in performance, sometimes not. But so basically, the Mozart effect, and it's very specific to Mozart, is that basically when if you are about to do anything cognitive, that solving problems or passing an IQ test or all this sort of stuff that, well, need your concentration and your cognitive abilities to solve problems and think, basically. Well, um, by listening to Mozart, you have a time span of 15 minutes where you perform greater than without it. So that hasn't proven to be the case all the time, but depending on the studies, some say that, well, listening to Mozart boosts your IQ, if you believe in such a thing, but your IQ by 8 points, some 2 points. But what is really true, I mean, you can believe in that or not, but what is really true is that by listening to music, not only Mozart, but that's funny to it's a very catchy thing to have the Mozart effect. But by listening to music, you activate zones of your brain that you will then use to solve problems, pass a test, and all these cognitive things that you activate while listening to music. Well, that serves as a warm up for then your test. So in the end, you are better prepared and you are warmed up. It really serves as a warm up. So you know that I'm a very good advocate for warming up when playing guitar. Well, this is basically the same for your brain. Then also, you may know that learning an instrument has many benefits. So, for example, and that makes a whole lot of sense. When you are learning an instrument, you are basically, well, training in your motor skills. So there's a bigger connection between your hands and your brain. So that's one thing in terms of, coordination. That doesn't mean that because you play guitar you're going to be a great dancer, but that helps with the connection mind and fingers. There's also it helps a lot with memory, because basically when you are learning a new instrument you are learning songs and scales and plenty of stuff that you are basically memorizing. um, well, because it's fun, so you are it's not painstaking, it's not painful, but in the end you are memorizing a ton of stuff, so you are working on your memory too. And so it decreases the risk of Alzheimer, the memory loss, when you actually learn an instrument. So go ahead just for that. And so two other things, it helps with learning new languages. um, I mean, I consider, and I'm not the only one, but I consider music to be a language, and so it makes sense that by learning an instrument, it's easier than to learn a language. But I think that, and this is me thinking about why it's the case. But when you are learning a musical instrument, you're training your ear, and this is a very useful tool to then learn languages and get a grasp of how things should you know well, how things should sound. And in the end, learning a new language comes from how you hear it. And yeah, basically that. And finally, not finally but finally, for this point, it also helps with keeping attention. So I had friends who had problems with keeping concentrated, and had very short attention span. And so the good thing about learning an instrument, if you enjoy it, is that because it's, well, of course, you have to work on it, but because it's a very satisfying experience, and because it's, you enjoy learning the instrument that you like. Well, yeah, Antoine did his research. Yeah, I'm taking this very seriously. I don't want to serve you a bullshit thing. So yeah. And then, yeah, if you have questions, fire away. But so yeah, I had problems. I mean, I had friends who had problems with attention, and so basically, when you are learning an instrument, you have to stay concentrated. And so, in the end, this helps you. Like it trains your concentration, and then you have a bigger attention span. Hello to the amazing friends of the Czech Republica, amazing horse. Thank you very much for being here, Kalake. Welcome. We're talking about whether music is essential or not. I mean, my point of view, but here I'm trying to serve you arguments that you can then use. And so we did a little history. If you want, I will just recap for you. And now we are talking about the benefits of music, and there are many. And so a good thing, actually, that I found out during my doing my research, because these two first things I knew basically is like, okay, it makes sense. You're learning an instrument, you learn new skills, and yeah, if you activate parts of your brain, then reactivating those parts, well, is easier, and you've warmed up. So I knew about the Mozart effect. But actually, so once again, there's the article in the description. Well, there's plenty of research that prove that music helps dealing with stress. And so the great thing is that, well, there are plenty of experiments and experience that they've done. But so basically, one is they've taken like 80 people who were about to go through a surgery process. And so pre-surgery, the surgery, and post, like the recovery. And so 40 of them couldn't listen to music, so they were in absolute silence. Of course, during this surgery, you don't listen to music, but during pre and recovery, they had no music. And the other 40 could listen to the music of their choice. And so they found out that even though it's a stressful situation for everybody, those who were listening to the music that they liked went back to, a calm situation with a normal heart rate much faster. Actually, those the others didn't, but much faster than those who didn't listen to music. And I saw that Zen Master said, um, I hate rap and jazz. Well, this is actually an effect with the music that you like. So everybody chose its own music. So whether the music that puts you in the zone is heavy metal or soul, it has the same effect. Basically, I mean, I feel very calm down and zen when I listen to Matthias Eklund doing his crazy thing on eight string. So really, it's just a matter of listening to music that you like, and that kind of calms you and gets you in a great zone. And I figured that that probably is the reason why, athletes before performing, most of them always have headphones and listen to music. And even though I'm not a pro athlete, I enjoy working out with music in my ears, because basically that's the thing. You are doing effort, you are, performing physically, and having music on, well, basically puts you in a very calm zone and very focused, and it's very pleasing, basically. So it's a way of smoothen everything, and even something that could be a little bit painful or tedious, well, it's much better with music. And actually, when I'm editing videos for this channel, those who are not with music, so the one songs in 1 hour, the videos where I talk a little bit, so those videos I edit them while listening to music, because that way the editing process is not as painful, because I'm not a good video editing guy. But so yeah, music smoothens things out and calms the brain and the heart and everything. So that's for the research. And once again, the article is in the description. And well, finally, and I think it's the most important thing, is that, well, music, and I mean every form of art, but I'm a musician first and foremost, is about expressing feeling. You have something to say, you say it in a song. If you have nothing to say, well, then don't write a song. And so it's about writing and expressing feeling, and also sharing emotion. So the guy or the girl, so the person who is performing the song, is feeling something. So is making the music is making something to him, and also the person who is listening to that song, well, is feeling something thanks to that song. And so that's a very important thing. So about feeling a certain way, and the effect that actually music has in our mood and the way we feel. um, there's also so research been done about dealing with depression with music, and actually listening to music, well, decreases the need for medical help when it comes to dealing with depression. So you need less treatment if you have music, I imagine, to a certain degree. But yeah, so that's one of the things that have been proving in well, several studies. And once again, if you want to know where it comes from, the Harvard article is in the description. And that's, I mean, so I found out about that during the research. But there's a phrase that I really like, because Tony Horton, so the coach, P90X coach, so for workouts. Hello, Jean Dandon, and welcome to this talk. So Tony Horton says you're only one workout away from feeling great, and that's true. Exercising and working out, well, should make you feel great. And if it doesn't, well, you are either going too seriously or not enough. But the thing is to find that sweet spot. And so basically, on the same way as Tony Horton says that, well, I tend to say that you're only one song away from feeling great. And as an example, well, before this live, I was playing and listening to Maniac from Flashdance. You know, she's a maniac, maniac on the floor. Just to get a little bit hyped up and pumped up for to have the great energies. And also I played a little bit of acoustic guitar to don't be too excited either, because if I start here and say, yeah, we're going to talk, it's great, it would be a little too much. So a great balance between Maniac and a little bit of acoustic guitar. But so that gets me in the zone. And another thing that I talk about usually when it comes to this is what I call the still loving you syndrome. So it doesn't have to be the still loving you effect. So it doesn't have to be like the Mozart effect. The Mozart effect works apparently only with Mozart, but the still loving you effect, well, I experienced it with still loving you, but you will understand. The still loving you effect is what I call basically the fact that when you are in a bad mood, so you're sad, and you listen to a sad song, well, sometimes it just, drains the bad energies and you feel much more calm and zen afterwards. So you don't always have to listen to something super energetic to feel better. Actually, well, even if you're sad, listening to a sad song, well, can help you. And for me, it was still loving you when I was a teenager, and when I was asking girls out and they would always say no, well, I would then listen to still loving you to feel a little bit better. And it was a way of saying, well, you said no, but I'm still loving you. And well, after that, 2 or 3 days, I'm okay. You know how teenager love works. But so yeah. And as a conclusion, and then we can move on to the interactive part of this thing. Once again, thank you very much for being a part of this. Is that, well, music is amazing, and that's why I've dedicated my life and don't see any way of living life besides playing music. And music brings people together, it shares joy, it spreads joy all over, throughout the world, just by listening to music. And also, I will just, because we are in a pandemic and there's no live shows. Actually, live shows are very important because, well, first of all, it's experiencing music in a very specific way. First of all, because I mean, you have the band in front, you have a lot of sound coming your way, and also there's a sense, very strong sense of belonging, because basically you are going to see music that you like with people that you don't know. But one of the worst things for people, us people, human beings, social animals, is to feel lonely. And the good thing about music is, even if you listen to the weirdest, the darkest, whatever heavy metal thing, well, you will find in shows people who listen to the same thing as you. And so people who share the same passion for the things you love. And that's basically a way of finding your crew and finding where you belong. And that's a very strong thing. And based on all the benefits, especially for depression, based on how strongly it can influence everybody's feelings, and also how important it is for bringing people together. I feel that music is not only essential, but is now more essential than ever, because people are tearing themselves apart, and there's all this social distancing thing. Well, music compensates for everything, and yeah, it's very far from being non-essential, and for me it's one of the most essential things in life, and I wouldn't see myself living without music. So yeah, that was. I hope you found it of interest. If you have any questions, far away. I'm gonna go through your comments. You are all lovely people, and I love that you are here to share your passion for music. And so I'm gonna go through this a little bit. Uh, 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 uh. So I stopped looking at TV and hearing radio for a long time. I listen to music all the time, from the beginning of the day to the end when I go to bed. Zen Master, you are so right. I mean, the best way of keeping your sanity, your mental sanity, is basically to turn the TV off, choose whatever entertainment you want on YouTube, or whatever. Choose, who you want to watch and who you want to listen to. Just cut the bullshit out. And yeah, music is, plays such a big role in that. And it's basically the soundtrack of our lives. So I wake up, I listen to music. When I feel down, I listen to music. When I feel better, I listen to music also. And I compose music. And so yeah, it's a very big part in life. And even for people who don't actually listen to music but just hear it, it would be very sad to not have it. So yeah, I think you're doing the right thing by turning the TV off and turning your music on. Antoine did his research. Yes, I did. That's great, man. I appreciate it. Thank you very much, Daria. Um, so ML, I can't really listen to music while studying or so, especially when it comes to the music I like. I need to give 100% of my attention. That happens to me also, but that basically happens when you like the music that you like. So you know, I there's people who recommend this, just in the same way as, sometimes when you are listening to someone and you have, a notebook or something, you start just drawing or something like that. You draw, or you do whatever with your pen, and you draw lines or stuff. And usually teachers think that that's a bad thing. It's like, oh, he's not listening to me. But for some people, like keeping your other senses entertained, like the vision, the touch, keeping all of that entertained, well, allows you to concentrate better in what you're hearing, because otherwise you tend to go all over the place. So not everything works for everybody, but so that's something that works great to listen to be more concentrated in what you listen to. And so, how it relates to music and studying, well, usually music is there to stop you from going all over the place in terms of train of thought when you're studying. Because when you're studying, you have to be very concentrated in what you're reading. And so sometimes, having music helps you be in that very focused thing. Even though you don't listen to the music, sometimes it's just, it's there. And it allows you to concentrate and not listen to whatever noise is around. But the only thing that works for me, and not to sound like intellectual or whatever, but is classical music, like instrumental classical music, when I'm reading or writing. That's the only thing that, well, maybe helps me to focus, but mainly doesn't disturb me at all. Because if there's guitar in there, I will listen to the guitar to say, what is he doing here? So, well, that's, um, professional things. And I like guitar, so my ear tends to go there. And so that doesn't help me concentrate. When there's vocals, I tend to sing along, so that doesn't help either. But I think it's, a matter of finding the right music for that. And for example, my mom doesn't can't concentrate while when into other things while listening to music. So she told me that when she was studying and all, well, she couldn't listen to music. So it's like complete silence, and that's the way. So whatever works for you. I mean, there's plenty of other moments to listen to music Anyway, so that was for ML. Thank you very much for sharing. Um, why music should be non-essential to guitarists and music lovers? It gives me a lot of pleasure every day. Yeah, that's what I said. Mainly, my point of view is obvious because I'm a professional musician, and I mean I dedicate my life. I do this all the day, so it makes sense that music is essential for me. But it's something that popped up. There was so first of all, the French government has said that music and shows and everything arts related is non-essential during this pandemic. Even though, well, as I said, to me it doesn't make sense at all, and music has benefits even in a moment of lockdown and crisis or whatever you want to call it. I think that if there was still shows, well, there would be much less brain damage and depression amongst people than there is now. And the virus is another thing, and I won't really talk about it here. But yeah, I think it's much worse to keep people at home without live shows and that fulfilling experience of socializing than than actually well, it's much worse to not have them do that than to allow them. And yeah, maybe a little bit of virus will be there, but yeah, viruses are part of life and part of death, and we all die someday. So yeah, I think that music would be much more beneficial um to a lockdown situation than it is. And people tend to say that it's non-essential in regards to the lockdown, and I think that for the lockdown is much more essential than ever. Mm, I hope I made myself clear here. Just comment down below if I didn't, if I wasn't clear or anything. The most important thing is to be happy. To me, this is music, and for other people, it could be reading good books or playing chess. I think, but yeah, of course, and it goes hand in hand. Um, Basically, and those things are all officially non-essential. Like libraries were closed. I reckon that chess clubs were closed too. Gyms were closed. Martial arts, gyms were closed. All of these things are really, really essential, and closely relate to people's happiness. And that to me is the most important thing, because we only get one life, so we might as well find what makes us happy, and what makes us find meaning in our lives. And of course, I mean, I read too. I don't play chess. Maybe it's too complicated too complicated for me, but yeah, of course, my life is not all about music, but that's my main focus as a musician. But there's plenty of things, like working out is so important. Whatever sport, it doesn't have to be gym or whatever. um i i I did that when I was not as good mentally. I would wake up and go run for 20 minutes. So it's not like I had amazing improvements, um amazing improvements in terms of my running abilities, but it's just so good for the brain. um it's like you have a ton of questions, you just go for a run or a walk, and you find your answers. There's something super strong about exercising, moving your body, and we are meant to move. So I think that helps, and that helps your brain too. um but yeah, so uh, as you said, whatever makes you happy. But usually, what makes people happy here in well, in France, but I think most governments during this lockdown, is qualified as non-essential. So yeah, please play a little bit. I had to stop my iTunes. Ah, Zen Master, sorry. I will go quickly through all of this and play a little bit. Um, mm, mm, mm. Yeah, Daria is saying while washing dishes or having a meal. Yeah, sure. I mean, wherever you don't need your ears to properly advance in your activity, that's a great thing. Da, 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 da. Burak, I see in all times of life. Yeah, agree. Also, Enes says, "Do you like weed?" Well, it has nothing to do with what we're talking about. But no, I don't smoke. I don't drink. I drink a lot of water, listen to a lot of music, and do a lot of exercising. And that's the best way of living, according to me. But my bass player, like, he likes it, but not me. I hope I won't disappoint you. I'm not into drugs or anything. Um, So yeah, you say that it's great to smoke weed and produce music. Well, whatever works for you, but I tend to prefer to, you know, have full conscience of my surroundings when I'm producing. But again, some people drink, alcohol to get in the good zone before playing live, and it seems to work for them. I mean, I don't think that it's at least it's not the best way of living my life for me. And then people do whatever they want. So, but no, I don't smoke, I don't drink, I don't do those stuff. It is okay to hear you are not on drugs. Yeah, and believe it or not, so maybe you can see it, but to people, I look a little bit like a drug addict. So maybe it's the long hair and the goatee and the closed eyes or whatever. But so it's a good thing that I don't do, because imagine if I did. I already look like this, and so I get all the advantages of looking the way I look. So I get controlled almost systematically when it comes to police controls and airport security. I always have these sort of controls, and you know it's it's a great thing that I don't, because I tend to say, like, I'm sorry to disappoint you, but no. So yeah, I mean, I understand that government ban live shows, but they should support musicians. Yeah, well, I actually don't, but that's, I mean, I think that the subject here. So I will talk about it. The subject here about non-essential and essential is very closely related to the current situation. But to me, not all the shows have 500 or 5,000 people attending. There's plenty of small gigs with 50 to 150 people watching, and those are amazingly beneficial for both the audience and the artists, because you can actually support the artist. If you are in the audience, you can buy merch. You can, I mean, there's something, and there's something to be gained emotionally, also financially for the artist. And by just banning shows, it doesn't really make sense, because in the end, people gather in other places, like when they go shopping for Christmas. They gather, and there's not a limit or whatever. So yeah, I think that, of course, to an extent, if you want to stop people from gathering, then you have to stop to a certain limit of people. But in the end, if you ask my sincere opinion, a virus, you can't fight a virus. Virus will, we live among viruses. So I mean, whoever, and that's, I mean, we all tend to, do you know any Christmas markets? Yeah, for example, I mean, if you don't follow, well, we did a Christmas market with Super Naughty, but that's exactly that. I mean, there were many more than 50 people in that Christmas market. There will be a video on the Super Naughty YouTube channel this Saturday. Um, why don't you do the same for a live show? So To me, basically, you can't fight a virus, and life is also about life, but about death. And that's why you have to live your life the way that makes you happy, because you can die at any point, and viruses are part of life. Sometimes you just catch a cold, and sometimes you are more fragile and you end up dying from it. But it's nothing new, actually. So, so it's like this crazy hypochondria about this. But yeah. So if you ask me, viruses have been everywhere all the time, and people have died from viruses all the time. So I wouldn't agree with any of the lockdown things. But even if you want to limit, people gathering or whatever, you can still do shows in like proper live shows. So banning everything is a shame, basically. Um, so Emel, when I have headaches, I always listen to some trash hits that have really strong drums that really treats the ache. Well, that's a good trick to have. Actually, it helps. Well, as I said, music helps with dealing with stress and heart arrhythmia, and being stressed and having your heart go all over the place. So that's a good thing, actually. Yeah, I'm gonna play just a little bit while you ask or um, put a bit more comments. That way, Zen Master will be happy. I hope. Can you hear the guitar properly? So yeah, my great friend, amazing horse. Thanks for the interesting talk. I couldn't agree more, especially with what you said about the essentiality of music. Well, thank you very much. 'Cause that was mainly the topic and the point I was trying to make. Like, of course, you're a musician too, so the value of music is obvious to you. Um, but it's not always the case, and sometimes because it's too obvious, we don't really take the time to find proper arguments. And so yeah, basically, music has been here since the beginning in a primal form, like rhythm based and with rudimentary instruments, and it's been there way before our inventions, like, well, markets and the bank, and whatever thing that now is obviously essential. Well, music was there way before, right at the same time as we were only, eating, sleeping, all these basic things that we really need in life. Well, there was always a form of music with it. So for me, it's music is as essential in life as sleeping or eating or drinking water. That's essential for your life. Drinking alcohol, maybe it's essential for people, but scientifically it's not. But so yeah, it's been there since the beginning, and then, well, there's many benefits, and we've only scratched the surface of that, because doing my research, I saw that there's been studies made about music and the effects on our brains since the 90s, basically. But if you think about it in scientific terms, the 90s is not as long ago, basically. And there's still plenty of things to be, found and proven, basically. I have to stop saying basically. Why do I say basically all the time? I mean, it's basic what I say, but so yeah, there's plenty of stuff to be found still with how music affects us, in a proper way when it comes to scientific terms. But it's always good to have some little things here and there to just shut a bit of mouths. If at one point something says, "Well, I can live without music," like, well, listen carefully. Do you have 30 minutes in front of you? Because we're going to talk seriously for a while. Not to say that you have to convince every guy who says that music is bullshit or whatever, but if at some point you want to go on that crusade, well, I hope that I've helped you with a little bit of things to say. And that's, I mean, if you have other things, feel free to just post them here. But otherwise, I'm super happy with how this turned out. This was so the first episode of live talks. A sort of Q&A. I mean, we have done a couple of Q&As, like 10 or so, and you always have questions, so that's perfect. But I wanted to try something new. That way we can talk like directly about a subject I have made a bit of research on. And I mean, you are all very interesting people to talk to. So yeah, Daria is saying let's do more of that. Well, for sure. I mean, I have to find topics, but there surely are topics that I want to talk about. Maybe not all as deep and serious about this one than this one, because this one was a very fundamental one and very strong one, and that's why it created the urge to start this format, because, well, I have the luck to have people who want to listen to me, so this is very amazing to me. So thank you very much for that. And I figured, since there are people who want to listen to what I say, well, let's say it in front of them instead of always just talking to Lisa, because I mean, she is the most important person in my life, and also the most interesting person in my life. So usually the interesting stuff come from talking to my wife Lisa. But yeah, it's great to then do a bit of research and share it with you guys. So we will do more. The live streams will always be, well, will still for the moment be bi-weekly. So it will either be live talk like this. You seem to enjoy it, so, and I enjoy it too, or just Q&As. We will see. Basically, if I have something that I want to talk about extensively, it will be a live talk. Otherwise, I will be there hanging out with you guys, and that's it. Thank you very much. As always, you have all the links in the description if you want to support the channel. You also have the link to the main article for the benefits of music. There's plenty, and a lot of research that has been done, a lot of studies. So you can check the Harvard article there. Pretty extensive, but it's very interesting. And yeah, once again, thank you very much for being a part of this. I can't wait to do more. So that's a pretty good thing. Thank you for supporting music. Keep listening to music. Keep supporting in the way you can, because music is important and it's not going away anytime soon. So yeah, keep doing what you do. You are wonderful. And that being said, I've been Antoine Mikhtarian, and I will see you very very soon. Well, tomorrow on a video, then on Monday, and very soon on new live streams, because I like doing this. And I'm going to end this now. Okay, take care, everybody. I love you all. Thank you very much for listening. All right. Bye bye. Bonsoir derrière. We end it.